I was 17 years old and still a senior in high school. I went to high school classes every day, was thinking about going to Youngstown State that fall, and I was looking for an opportunity to help pay for my college education. Coming from a single-parent family, college is expensive, and so I thought I need to find an opportunity to help foot some of this bill and lower my amount of debt coming out of college. So I found the Miss America organization. I happened to be at an event honoring young leaders in the community, and Miss Ohio 2006 was the guest speaker. She also happened to be a dancer, which never happens. Dancers tend to have a more difficult time winning the pageant just because some people just don't get dance. So I was so excited to meet Miss Ohio 2006. And I thought, I think I could be Miss Ohio. I want to dance and I want to win some scholarship money for school. So she said, go online, look up how to enter the pageant. So I entered my first pageant. In high school, I was very active on the speech and debate team. It was what I was extremely passionate about. There's probably 10 girls in the pageant. I think I came in last place, like dead last. Had no idea what I was doing. Had all the wrong things. The swimsuit was all wrong. I wore my dress from homecoming my freshman year. That was all wrong, apparently. And typically, a Miss Ohio will win on her second or third try. So coming back on my third try, I thought, this is it. This is my year to win. It's my third try. I invested in the right dress. I had the right talent. I was working out real hard to get ready for the swimsuit. I thought my interview was stellar. I was like, this is my year. I'm going to win. And they announced the top 10, and I was still standing on the stage, not in the top 10. And I was devastated. I was shocked. I don't know where I went wrong. Still to this day, I'm a little scratching my head. And I really had a step back. I really was dropped down a peg. And that's when I realized that this journey is more about focusing on your inner self than just the competition. I was too focused on being the best on stage and not the best from the inside out. And so now people are saying, oh, Heather's been competing for 4 years, can barely make the top 10. She should just hang it up. Like, go home, don't come back, drive home safely. And that fourth year I came back, I was real nervous because the year before I thought I did great. I didn't make the top 10. So I come back this fourth year, got things going on, feel pretty good. I go to my interview and I just bombed the interview. An interview was what I loved. And I just couldn't get my words out right. I was stumbling over my words. I was tripping over my speech. I was nervous. I was sweaty. And it just didn't go well for me. And I saw girls remaining on the stage. And I was still one of them, meaning that my name could be called out as Miss Ohio 2012. And I was standing there, and the girls who weren't in the top 10 were standing on like platforms behind me, and they were even whispering, oh my God, it's Heather. Heather did it, she won. And I'm sitting there like, they're gonna call out my number, I'm about to win, and then the announcer said, your new Miss Ohio 2012 is contestant number 25. That wasn't my number. And so I was, for the first time ever, after the pageant, incredibly discouraged. Didn't think I could go on, didn't want to go on, didn't think that competing in my last year of age eligibility was going to be a good idea. I'd seen it time and time again. Girls come back in their last year of their eligibility and they just blow it. They're too nervous, too much pressure, too much riding on it, or their first runner-up. They get so close, but yet you're still so far away. And so I approached the pageant completely differently. I didn't care what the naysayers said. For the first time ever, I wasn't concerned with the other girls. How was so-and-so's evening gown? What was her talent like? Does she look really skinny this year? I was just focused on me. And I had never approached the pageant that way. And so I was confident, I was cool as a cucumber, and I said, you know what, honestly, I don't have anything to lose, because either I win or I don't. I mean, life goes on, the world still turns. So I go into my 6th year, and my final year of competition, and everybody, no one thinks I can do it. But I was just there to have a good time and enjoy myself and only focus on me. And sure enough, competition begins, my interview goes well, I don't overthink it, I usually always overthink it. And I just continued on throughout my week, focusing on myself. Competition is over, we're on stage for awards, and I win the swimsuit award. Okay, great, I won that last year, so glad to keep it going. And then I win the overall talent award. I've never won overall talent. Dancers never win overall talent. And I was like, wow, the judges must have really liked my performance. And then I won the overall interview award, which I've never won overall interview. And the pageant is often won in the interview room. The judges like you from the moment they meet you, they're gonna like you throughout the rest of the competition. So I've won every phase of competition, and I'm sure that I've won, but the year prior I had an awful moment where I thought I had won and I didn't, so I didn't want to believe that I had won. So again, it's from 10 girls, they announce 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st runner-up, and I'm still up there. There's 6 girls, and I'm still up there. And the girl next to me says, Heather, you clearly won. You won all the preliminaries, you won all the phases of competition. You're still up here, and they've announced all the runner-ups. Just like, you've won. I'm sitting up there, I was like, nope, I don't know anything until they announce it, because last year I thought I'd won and I didn't. And sure enough, the announcer says, your Miss Ohio 2013 is Heather Wells, and I couldn't believe it. And you would think, after 6 years of competing and trying and wanting to be Miss Ohio so badly, that I would have practiced a reaction, like I would have been in the mirror and had a nice reaction or something. No reaction. I just got pale, almost fainted, and everybody thought I was going to throw up. Didn't throw up, didn't faint, I was fine. The girl next to me, thank God she was there, because if she wasn't, I probably would have fainted and fallen on the ground. She caught me, she was holding me, she's like, you won, you did it. And sure enough, my friend from the year before who had won put the crown on my head, and I took my first walk, and I couldn't believe it, but I was so ready. And I thought, gosh, why 6 years? And you know what? Every year that I competed, I grew a little bit more, and I just wasn't ready. The timing was excellent. The timing was perfect.
All right, Heather, I've got to ask you this because your mom and you just talked about your first pageant.
Yeah.
Miss Canfield Fair.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit of how that went for you.
Oh my gosh, so I was 3 years old. It was the Tiny Miss Canfield Fair pageant. It was a hot day, and the dress that my mom had for me was a very itchy dress. At 3 years old, I did not like itchy dresses, would not wear them, and I had been doing some fashion shows previously, and I loved modeling on stage, but it was just for exhibition, no pressure, just for fun. And so my mom said, well, this is just a fashion show, and for fashion shows I'd wear an itchy dress because I knew it would just be itchy for just a minute. So I was like, fine, I'll wear the itchy dress because it's a fashion show. So I go out, I do my fashion show modeling bit, and I wave, I blow a kiss, I tell the crowd I love you, and sure enough, all the girls go and do their routine. And the next thing I know, so then your winner is Heather Wells, and they put a crown and sash on me and hand me a trophy. I'm standing there on stage with my hands on my hips. I said, Mom, you tricked me. This was a pageant. It wasn't a fashion show. And my mom said, but you won. And then I had a big grin on my face, and I haven't stopped since. So.
All right, awesome. Now, we just heard your story a little bit. What kept you, I mean, in just kind of brief terms, what kind of kept you going for Miss Ohio?
I think there was just a fire inside that I had burning, because I knew that this opportunity could lead to so many future opportunities, but more importantly with my platform, Divorce Recovery for Youth, focusing on being that voice for children who have parents going through a divorce and they're struggling with just the obstacles of life and understanding that was really what kept me motivated, because I knew that this opportunity as Miss Ohio would be my soapbox, my platform to reach thousands and thousands of children across the state and across the nation and share my story and inspire them to maybe they can be Miss Ohio one day or go on to be the President of the United States, because they felt that they were inspired from a young age to motivate themselves and go after their dreams. So that was what kept me going, and I was glad I kept at it, because it did pay off and I had that opportunity, and I still do, to speak to people and children especially and reach them in a really positive light.
All right, let's talk a little about the book that you talked about, The Charisma. It's
called The Charisma Myth.
Okay.
It's by a woman, I believe, named Olivia Fox, and it's just an excellent book. It's funny, it's an easy read, it's not super long. It's just about all the different forms of charisma and how that's a great way to reach people on every level. There's different types of charisma, and she describes them very well. You kind of find the one that fits best with your own self and personality, and there's techniques, and I was finding myself being very nervous when it came to public speaking, because I wanted to just do such a good job that I was getting too worked up over it, and I was letting the fear and the anxiety of the unknown overtake my ability to just speak well to the audience. And after I read this book, I found that confidence again, and then I turned around and I won Miss Ohio, and I spent that year traveling, making more than 260 appearances, and that book is what gave me the tools and the tricks to present myself well and have a great year.
All right. Well, tell me something about the Tough Mudder. Give me, because it's kind of like Miss Ohio gets tough and dirty. Why'd you do that?
So the Miss Ohio pageant takes place in Mansfield. It's a tradition. It's been there for decades. And Tough Mudder travels the entire country. In fact, it travels internationally. And for some reason, when Tough Mudder comes to Ohio, they go to Mansfield. And it's 13 miles long. The mud comes up to your knees, and you're just trekking through mud, and every probably half mile there's an obstacle that you have to do. It was by far the most physically challenging thing I've ever done. It was again just a testament of determination. There are moments where I was like, I am done, I'm turning around. There was gators running around. If somebody wanted out, they could, get a ride back. But I saw people going back, and I thought, no, that is not going to be me. I'm going to finish this thing. But every obstacle was a true mental mindset testament, actually. So it was more about a mindset. And there was this one obstacle, it was called the Arctic Enema. And it was a giant, like big pool of ice cold water, and I mean ice cold. They were dumping bags of ice into the water. There were ice cubes in the water, and at one point you have to jump into this pool of ice water, and you have to swim under this beam, swim all the way underneath, and you come back up on the other side. And when you come up out of the ice water, you're completely disoriented. I came up and everything was black. I couldn't see anything. I didn't know where I was. Completely disoriented. And everyone's so encouraging. It's the coolest thing you'll ever see. If you couldn't know the person from Adam, and everyone's encouraging, come on, this way. We'll help you. So yeah. I heard voices, and I swam over there, and I got pulled out of the ice tub. And that day I did the Tough Mudder. It was probably only about 60, 65 degrees. So jumping in ice water at about 60 degrees on a cloudy day was not fun. It was hard to get warmed up, and that was about mile 6. So I still had about 7 miles to go. And at the time, my boyfriend ran the Tough Mudder with me, and after the Tough Mudder, he decided that he wanted to take the next step to propose. So I didn't know at the time. He proposed a few months later, but after the Tough Mudder, he was like, yeah, after that I gotta marry this girl. So Tough Mudder was a crazy event. I want to do it again, but I don't want to do it again, but we'll see. I got you.
One final question. What would you say to anyone out there with a dream of anything?
Yeah, you got to go for it. You can't accomplish it unless you go for it. And once you invest, you got to go all in. You got to legitimately go big or go home. Invest everything you have, all of yourself, because the reward is so great. And even if you never achieve what you set out to achieve, you'll look back and realize the experiences that you had and the improvement that you made and the personal growth and the personal development. There's no losing when you try, and you will gain something if you have a good work ethic, a positive attitude, and a good mindset. You will see success, and you'll be rewarded.
Here's another question. You were on the speech team.
Mm-hmm.
Is this one of your first times seeing a Toastmaster meeting?
This is my first Toastmaster meeting ever. Definitely not my last. I now reside in the Westerville area, suburb of Columbus, and the first thing I do when I get home, I am Googling Toastmasters near me. I'm signing up. I was in theater growing up. I loved TNT Playhouse. I did things at the Youngstown Playhouse. I did a lot of acting growing up, so I was comfortable speaking on a stage, but I was portraying a character. And then in high school, I got involved with speech and debate. It helped me grow immensely with speaking and to groups of people. And then from there, I took what I learned there, and I applied it to the Miss America organization, and I had multitudes of opportunities to speak, whether it was an onstage question or the interview room, or a group of students at a school during my year as Miss Ohio. My passion for speaking hasn't stopped or slowed down any whatsoever. Even though I'm a former Miss Ohio now, I still have several speaking engagements. I love it, and I want the speech and debate teams across Ohio to become more prominent. I want Toastmasters across the country to become more prominent. It's an excellent opportunity. It's a great outlet to continue that passion that I have, and I'm not slowing down, so I'm joining, and I'm really pumped about it.